Hi, I'm Kim. A lot of people find this channel through shorts I post about my life living in Lake Tahoe, California. So it's mostly been wildlife and mountain biking and scenery so far. But I live up in a mountain town in Northern California, and sometimes people assume, the reason I'm able to live here is that I either retired early, I had a big exit from a previous job, or I just got lucky. And the truth is much simpler than that, and I'm going to share it with you. My life in the mountains exists because I figured out how to take something I already knew how to do and turn it into income without starting over, without chasing trends from influencers or becoming somebody I wasn't and trying to make money that way. And that's what this channel is really about. On this channel, I'm going to talk about how to take something that you already know how to do and turn that into a consulting service, a small business, just a service you're providing to somebody else in general without overcomplicating everything. So if you've ever thought, I'm not an expert who would actually pay me for the skills that I have, you are exactly who I created this channel for.
When most people hear the word consultant, they picture somebody in a suit walking into a corporate boardroom with a slide deck. And if that's the image in your head, it's easy to immediately think, that's not me. But that version of consulting is only one very small slice of what consulting actually is. When I use the word consultant, I mean something much simpler. I mean someone who takes what they already know and helps someone else solve a problem. That's it. No fancy title, no certification required, and no permission slip.
And here's the thing, if the word consultant feels uncomfortable or too formal for you, you don't even have to use it. You can say you offer a service, you can say you run a small business, and you can say you have a side hustle. The label doesn't matter. What matters is that somebody has a problem and you know how to help them solve it. So what does this look like in real life? This might look like being a parent who figured out how to get a child to sleep through the night. It might be a friend everybody calls when they have a big event or a wedding to plan because they're always calm, they're organized, and they know what questions to ask the caterers. It might be the neighbor who does yard work on the weekends because they need a side income because maybe their 9-to-5 isn't cutting it and they want to earn extra money. These are just small things, but they're actually real problems that people struggle with. And they're problems people are willing to pay to have solved.
One of the biggest reasons people don't see this in themselves is because their own skills feel too normal to them. When you've been doing something for years, you assume it's easy for everybody else, but that's rarely true. If people regularly ask you for advice, if they come to you for help, if they say things like, I don't know how you do that, that's not an accident. That's actually a clue. Let me tell you about Sarah, who's one of my neighbors. Sarah loves gardening. It was never a business idea. It was just something she really enjoyed. But then the neighbors started asking her for help because their flower beds wouldn't grow. Sarah would come over, explain what was wrong, help plant things correctly, and share tips about soil and seasonal care. Because remember, we live up in a mountain town and we have all the seasons. At first, she wasn't charging. She was just helping. But then word spread, more neighbors asked, and eventually someone said, can I pay you for this? That's often how this starts. Sarah didn't decide to become a gardening consultant. She didn't create a brand or a website or a business plan. She simply shared what she loved doing and allowed it to grow. Over time, she offered workshops, designed garden plans, and even worked with local businesses. She never needed a title. She just helped people. I know this path is possible because I actually lived it myself. I spent years in corporate human resources, helping managers and employees solve problems every single day. And when I left that traditional path, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have everything figured out. I had a laptop, I had experience, and I had a skill I had been using for years. I took something I already knew how to do and turned it into helping small businesses. Over time, that turned into a consulting business that supports my family, gives me flexibility, and allows me to choose work that actually fits my life instead of the other way around. I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that this is real and it's definitely achievable.
Here's the truth I want you to hear today. You don't need to be an expert. You don't have to have a formal title. You don't need to know everything before you start. You only need to be one step ahead of the person you're helping. Consulting and small businesses aren't about knowing everything. They're about helping somebody move forward.
And let's be honest, the world has shifted. People are tired of the 9 to 5 grind. They're tired of waiting for someone else to recognize their value. At the same time, there's never been more demand for everyday experts, people with practical knowledge who can help others with real problems. This is especially powerful if you're approaching retirement or already retired. Consulting can be a great bridge. It can keep you engaged, give you flexible income, and allow you to continue using your skills you spent years developing. And remember, these skills can be a hobby, not just your previous career.
All right, so just to reiterate that one more time, you don't have to do consulting based on a previous job or a career experience. That's the route I chose, but that's not the route everyone has to choose. Do something that you're good at. You don't even have to be an expert. Something you're good at that other people want. Let me tell you, in the area I live up in the mountains, we have a lot of people that teach fly fishing. They teach how to cook. They do baking. They do golf. You don't have to be a golf pro to do it. You just need to be better than the person that needs to learn. So remember that. You can take anything that you're passionate about and turn it into side income or even make it a full-time job, which allows you the flexibility to live wherever you want and not have to worry about trying to find a remote job. You can do what you want to do in terms of work around your schedule. And that's what I ended up doing. And I've been doing it over 10 years and I absolutely love it. So it is possible. I guarantee it.
So that's the reason why I created this channel and why I eventually wrote a book called Consulting for Anyone. Not because I wanted to sell a book, but because I kept having the same conversations over and over again with people who couldn't see the value in what they already had. This isn't about complicated systems or business jargon. It's about helping you see what you already know and showing you how to use it. In this channel, we're going to talk about having the right mindset, about confidence, pricing, finding your first client, and building something that fits your life instead of taking it over so you can live the life you've always wanted. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. And if you're here watching this, you already have.
If this helped you at all, please subscribe. I post several times a week with practical, straightforward guidance to help you turn what you already know into income and independence. You don't need permission to start, you just need to begin. I'll see you in the next video.